holy water?
Oh, no.
They boil the hell out of it. See? Come on, that's funny.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
It was funny.
I'm looking like, what?
Evening, everybody. Monday, April 24th. It is 6:10. Mrs. Brown, can we have the roll, please?
Mrs. Bond,
Here.
Miss Byrd,
Here.
Mrs. Duff,
Here.
Mrs. Ferguson, Mr. Ferguson, Mr. Rodehaver,
Here.
Mr. Stevenson,
Present.
Ms. Worley,
Here.
Mr. Watts.
Here. I don't believe we need to approve the minutes, do we? Yeah, no minutes. Well,
I'm headed back to the drawing board.
let's get back to business here. What we were talking about as far as, hopefully this is the last time we're going to talk about this.
The salary, yeah.
I'm sorry, just unroll it. Oh,
It's a post-it note.
I'm sorry. I could feel it. I could feel. What did you do to this? That was in your mind, wasn't it? Last week we talked about salaries and the way we would like the numbers to come out.
Not gonna.
Our current salary, as you can see, our council members get $1,200 a year. They are paid $20 per meeting that they attend. Our mayor is paid $2,400 a year with $25 per meeting. That's the way the current
Yes, the 25 is for court.
25 and an additional $25 per court session.
Right.
Each court session and the time usually comes to about 4 hours a week, but they're only paid $25 a week for that court session. The mayor or the deputy mayor if necessary.
Maximum of $1,300 yearly.
A year on top of their $2,400, which as you can see, that is way down. What we had discussed last week was that we would like to see all of council, including the mayor, come to a standardized number, which we thought $3,000 a year sounds like a pretty good, reasonable number that the citizens might not balk at. What we did then is also increase the per meeting attended salary from 25 to 57. In doing that, it becomes a very big incentive for an elected council person to do his or her job, be here. Agreed? The reason that we said we would like the mayor to make the same amount of money, not twice the money as council, is because in council chambers, in this part of the job, there's no difference from the mayor and council. They don't do anything any differently. Mayor's court's altogether different. We see down there then that the mayor, during mayor's court, should receive a minimum, we thought, of $25 per hour served, knowing that the mayor spends an approximation of 4 hours a week doing that job. Go ahead.
So, mayor doesn't always necessarily do a 4-hour court session. He or she may do 2 hours one week, 3 hours next week, but they still have to come in and sign paperwork, so that's where we came up with the 4 hours.
We're basing it on 4 hours a week, okay? But we're looking at $25 an hour for the mayor to do that job. So in saying that, the mayor stands to make how much more? did we top it out at
4,000.
for mayor's court?
Not to exceed 5,200 per year, right?
Mayor's court,
Yeah.
yeah. So mayor's court, we're assuming that mayor's court won't exceed or will not exceed $5,200 a year just for mayor's court. It was,
Well, see, on the $25 per hour, after the discussion, I thought that you all had discussed, instead of doing it per hour, to do a full, to do an amount instead of making it per hour.
I think
mean,
you're
That's
right.
what I thought
I
too.
think you're right.
Okay.
I thought
Okay.
it was
I just, because
$100.
when I redid it, when I was redoing,
right.
you know, the
Right.
language, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, without having the video, I didn't recall. So I was trying to, doing it $25 per hour. I'm not saying that we.
Correct.
On court day, and then any other day that they would come and sign paperwork or whatever else. So anyway, when I figured it out and was trying to enable this, I did put $100 for each pre-scheduled court session,
I agree.
knowing it that the
That's
way that
fine
they
with
do
me.
it now, whenever they come in to sign paperwork, that's all included.
Right.
That's
Correct.
not- Yeah.
Okay.
So they,
Correct.
so, you know, if she comes in the next day and she waits till the next council meeting, that's when she signs the paper. So, yeah.
but basically then we're taking the $25 then per court session to $100 per court session, correct?
Yeah, just an average of the 4 hours.
Right.
per
Right,
week.
right.
Okay.
So it'd be 400 a month if there's 4 meetings.
Correct,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's why when you all had figured it up, and I was trying to do my math, I had kind of, you know, wrote down, it was like 4,800 or something, but that was based on, they might
For-
not have a court day, you know, the day. before
holiday,
Thanksgiving.
yes.
Right, right.
Or there may be 5 Wednesdays in a
Yes,
month.
exactly.
So,
So in talking to Susie, like the next day, she was talking about, well, we're having court every Wednesday, but in a few years, Wednesday's gonna fall, Christmas is gonna fall on Wednesday, New Year's Eve is gonna fall on a Wednesday, New Year's Day is gonna fall on a Wednesday. So they won't have court that day. It's not like they're gonna move it to Friday or something
Right.
like that. They'll just cancel court and not have it.
So basically by saying we're going to make it the $100 per court session, we're still in our minds looking at, it's kind of senseless for anybody to be doing anything less than $25 an hour. That's what we based that $100 on, okay? And that's where that came from. But I think those are reasonable numbers. The draft that Amy has made for us reflects what we did last week. Do we have a motion then to send this up, or should I say law review? Let's have a motion on section 3.5. Do you want to have it read? This section, do you want her to read this aloud?
So what I just want to ask is, do you want to do whatever changes you all decide to make? Do you want to do this in parcel? Do you want to have her look at this part first and then review your next portion and have her?
Yes. Yes. The reason we want to do that's,
In case she has any.
she's got to bring it back to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to have Amy read this aloud from this point?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You want the old section read first
Okay.
and then the new section? Okay?
Okay, currently, section 3.5 salaries, the base salary of a council member shall be $1,200 annually. The base salary of the mayor shall be $2,400 annually. In addition, a council member and a mayor shall receive as additional salary the sum of $20 for each regular council meeting and each committee of the whole meeting attended each month, not to exceed a total of $80 per month. In addition, the mayor and deputy mayor shall receive as additional salary the sum of $25 for each pre-scheduled court session attended each month, not to exceed a total of $1,300 per year. Council members and the mayor shall not receive additional salary for attending special meetings of the council. The salaries of the council members and the mayor shall be changed only by a majority vote of the electors of the city of Moraine at a special or general election. Then the proposed section 3.5 salaries, the base salary of a council member and mayor shall be $3,000 annually. In addition, a council member and the mayor shall receive as additional salary the sum of $57 for each regular council meeting and each committee of the whole meeting attended each month, not to exceed a total of $228 per month. In addition, the mayor and deputy mayor shall receive as additional salary the sum of $100 for each pre-scheduled court session attended each month, not to exceed a total of $5,200 per year. Council members and the mayor shall not receive additional salary for attending special meetings of the council. The salaries of the council members and the mayor shall be changed only by a majority vote of the electors of the city of Moraine at a special or general election.
You've heard the reading. Motion?
Make a motion to accept the proposed section 3.5 salaries for the council.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Rodehaver?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Worley?
Yes.
Mrs. Duff?
Yes.
Ms. Byrd?
Yes.
Mrs. Bond?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes. This will now go forward to the law director, so the law director can change verbiage if necessary. Honestly, I'm just a stupid plumber. I think it's pretty close to the original draft, other than numbers, and we're taking the mayor's step out of it and putting the mayor with the rest of the council. I believe this might be pretty good. Also, at the same time, if the law director has no opposing of this or verbiage change, council may want to interject their opinion about this. This will have to go to the electorals. Okay. All right. Hot dog salaries is over. Now,
I would like to, if I may, Mr. Chair, I'd like to bring up what we had discussed last week. I know it's not on the list in order, but Section 7.3, Merit Service Commission. There was a suggestion came out that Merit Service Commission be removed. They don't believe the process is helpful in the current labor environment. In addition, labor laws have changed since the Merit Service Commission was established decades ago. Further, thorough hiring policies following state and federal law determined by the city manager should be enough for hiring all positions in the city. If I may bring that up, please.
Section 3.7 deals solely with the Merit System Commission's duties and responsibilities to hiring classified employees to the city of Moraine. This particular section is lengthy. This particular section in 1965 was needed. As Mr. Roderhaver has said, labor laws have changed. Laws themselves have changed on hiring and dismissal of employees. I believe personally that the current design of the merit system limits the city of Moraine's timely approval of an employee to the point to where we are losing employees. In order for us to get an employee, it can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to hire an employee. And in that time period, the employees that we want to hire can find jobs elsewhere.
Now, this is including fire,
Yes, if I may, I'll break it down.
Police, fire, and street department,
Okay.
and building maintenance.
okay. Well, it just basically covers any employment through the city.
Well, you still have everybody on the city side over there, they're not part of that. Okay, you have the rec center, they're not
Right.
part of that.
Okay.
Any seasonal employees that we hire, they're not part of that.
Okay.
Any part-time employees, they're not part of that.
Okay,
All unionized employees
Employees.
of the city go through the merit system currently.
Okay.
that's what I wanted to clarify.
Okay.
So, being on the Merit Service Commission, oh, that was easy to say.
Yeah.
Being on the MSC, what we have run into in the hiring process, and Tommy can attest, is that when police, fire, building, maintenance, and streets department, they come to us and say, hey, we want to hire somebody, we need people. We need 3 people. We're down 4 people, down 5 people, whatever the case may be. Now, these jobs are, obviously they're union, but they're also very skilled labor. These departments are what this city has to have to run. They have to have fire and safety, they have to have building maintenance, they have streets in order to operate. So when they come to the Merit Service Commission, sorry, I'm gonna try not to walk around, there's a mic over here.
I just want to say, before you go on, I apologize for interrupting.
No.
Since you are a member of the MSC board, if you can refrain from one side or the other, your preference.
Oh, no, I'm.
Okay, I wanted to touch
No,
base on that
I'm
and
just
just make
telling
sure that we were covering
No, I'm
all our
just
bases. And yes, I just explanation of the
What we-
processes.
Yes, what we
Thank you.
do. So, no,
Covering her base.
I just don't want
I will be.
Objective.
Anyway, so then they come to the Merit Service Commission and they say, hey, we need 3 or 4 people, whatever the case may be. They have a advertisement that they are required to put out by law, by ORC, that they have to put out for a certain amount of time, whether it be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the case may be. Then, once that's exhausted,
Well, the advertisement. As soon as the department head says, I want to make a hire, he has to go to Merit Service and says, I want to make a hire. Merit Service then has to agree and make the advertisement, give it back to, at this point, Aaron Vitor. Aaron Vitor then does the advertisement. Now,
so.
this is one meeting.
Yeah,
This is one meeting.
One meeting. And before, the Merit Commission would not meet regularly, but now we meet monthly. So anyway, once they give us the advertisement, we read it, vote it on, we approve it or disapprove it, there's changes made. Normally, the heads of the departments are here to rally for their cause. Then once we approve it, it goes out for, we'll say, 2 weeks. Once that's done, that's exhausted, they have their applicants. Say they get a list of 20 names, okay? Then they have to come back to the Merit Service Commission. And they say, hey, can you release 10 names that we can start the hiring process? They can't even start hiring people and interviewing people until we say, okay. So then,
Go back,
no,
go back.
I'm just hitting the highlights.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to say how many meetings, because he's already up to 3 meetings.
So then, once we approve that list, then they gotta exhaust that list, that entire list. And they may not hire half of them because they haven't filled out their applications properly, they have an interview, whatever the case may be. They find out that they've got felonies.
Happens.
something cra- And it does happen.
Yeah.
So once that list is exhausted, then they have to come back to the merit. Back. Then the merit commission say, okay,
Here's 10
I
more.
need 10 more names. I need we've exhausted this list. Then the merit commission says, okay, we're gonna fill that list, has to be voted on. Then we have to approve release of another in order for them to go on for hire.
Now, how long is this process?
We're
Let's say
talking-
this all
We're
happens.
about 3 months now.
Oh, wow.
And that's,
Wow.
that's speedy.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
That's
Wow.
3
speedy.
months.
Wow.
That's not including the second set of names that are released, the next 10 names. So then they have to come back to us after they've exhausted that list. And they may not get one candidate. Or they may get one candidate out of 20. Because the current way the way people are, my opinion, just my opinion. I'm not gonna wait 4 months. If I'm a firefighter, fresh out of fire school, I'm looking to get on a department somewhere that's hiring full-time, which is rarity. Well, not anymore. Then I don't wanna wait 4 months. I'm gonna jump on board the first department that says, come on.
Right.
So we're not the only game in town. Kettering, Oakwood, Jefferson Township, Williamsburg, all the surrounding municipalities, and then some, are requiring police officers, firefighters, street department. So we're up against a lot of competition. Now, that's not to say that, I mean, we're probably one of the better paid cities for our municipality, as far as police, firemen, and building streets. But however, the point is, by this time, we're talking 4 to 5 months that the Merit Service Commission expedites the process of hiring. And it was set up originally as an oversight. So that way, the police chief and fire chief, they're, hey, buddy, come on over. It was to eliminate that. That happened a lot back in the day. But new hiring laws and everything like that now have changed. And obviously, I'm counting on police and fire not breaking ORCs and laws on hiring practice. So that's basically MSC in a nutshell. And
Years ago, go ahead.
So it's taking this long of a process, so we're losing out on people.
Oh, yeah. Years ago, when the city was established, okay, the term HR person was non-existent. You know, that human resources, what the heck is that?
Right.
You know, no, they really didn't, they didn't have that process. Merit System Commission in the early days of the city was for classified employees, that HR person. If an employee of the city had a grievance against their boss, okay, or the way something was done, they came to Merit Service. Merit Service was even in the arbitrations of union contracts. Now, over at least the last 35 years, segments of the merit system have been pulled away, and the responsibilities have been pulled away, and pulled away, and pulled away, to where, in reality now, it's just my opinion, but the merit system now is nothing more than a fluff board.
oh, let me
It doesn't serve any purpose other than slowing the entire process down and actually costing the city a lot more money.
Allow me to caveat on some more of this. So they also are responsible for approving the advertisements for promotional, or not advertisement for promotional, but they request for promotional. Normally they promote within. Fire department, they have, if they have a lieutenant's position that opens, then they're gonna have, at times, they've had 10 to 12 people that applied for the lieutenant's position from within. And then that's another process. So we're talking, then we have to have a testing done. And we have to oversee the testing, proctor the testing. Hold on.
Years ago, Merit System made those tests. We don't do that no more. That
Yeah.
goes to an outside firm.
Yeah, that all has been farmed out to somebody that sits down and they go through all the rules, city rules. Some of them are leadership questions, just a bevy of questions. Could be 100 questions on a test. And they're paying somebody a lot of good money for that. And a lot of times they come back and the tests don't even apply to the current trends of leadership in police and fire. Because that, especially with that and street departments, it's an ever-changing work that it's
Materials
advancing. It's always advancing. Things change, rules change.
I do have a question. Okay, let's say the merit system is not, and who would be doing the hiring for these departments?
Department
So-
head.
Yep, the department heads.
Okay.
This would place, if I'm correct, in a sense, maybe, if the Service Commission was eliminated, then it would put the hiring process back into the hands of the department heads, the chiefs, the head of street department, the head of building maintenance. Then they would be able to develop their own tests,
Oh, okay.
which is mainly what they want to do now, which some of them have developed already, especially for promotional. But even for promotional, I mean, the only thing we're basically doing there is proctoring the testing. Yes,
So is there still a 3-month or so delay?
sometimes, yes. And, well,
Crazy.
for instance, and I don't know if I'm gonna step over bounds on this, but I know at one point in time, there was some testing done. The testing was incorrect. It wasn't even police, fire, building maintenance, they're given study material so they can study for that test. Well, the study material and the test were so far apart.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And throw everything.
We had
in.
a 99% fail rate. One person passed, but we had to scrap the test because it had to be fair to everyone.
So what happened? The whole process had to start all over.
Yes. So we went from 3 to 4 months to 8 months,
Ridiculous.
just for promotional.
In all of this, you have a fire department chief that needs somebody in the truck. You have the police chief that has an empty cruiser because he needs an officer in that.
Then they
This
need-
turns into, the merit system, in my opinion, turns into a public safety issue with the speed that is happening now with hiring people compared to what other cities are doing. There are cities all across Ohio they've already done away with this. We're one of the few that still hold this. And what we truly hold is nothing. It's nothing but time. And it's silly. I don't know how we would say, eliminate this, because
Is the merit commission holding up the process?
No, no, it's just, here, Don said it a while ago, if we decide, if merit system, there's a process. Let's just say street department. Street department's easy, okay? Street department, Chris Dunn comes in and Chris says, I need to hire 2 people. But before I hire this person, I've got to create a spot for this person because I'm only allowed to have X amount of employees at entry level. So Chris says, well, I'm missing a level 3 operator. So before he can do the new hire, he has to then start at the top and say, I need a promotional test for level 3. So he comes to us and he says, I got a promotional test I need to do. Then we have to advertise it. We say, okay, here's the advertisement. The advertisement goes out for 2 weeks, comes back. We got 5 guys that want to take that test. Chris has to make that test or have it made from that guy at Sinclair. Once he gets that, now he says, okay, I've got a level 3 guy. Now I'm going to go with the level 2 because I created a spot in level 2. So now he's going to create from level 1 to level 2. He's going to make that test, advertise that test, hire that guy. Once he gets level 2, now he goes to level 1. Now I've got this guy. I'm going to promote these guys or one of these guys to this level 2. Now I've got my entry level guys over here. I can have my entry level guys test to go up to level 1 to open the hole in my entry level that I needed to fill in the first place. Dead serious. And in all of that right there, that can take a year, can't it, Dave? It has done it. And we have been in the dead middle of that before and had to throw the whole thing out.
Now, what I would like to propose, this is what I proposed the last MSC, is that we were doing city a disservice in delaying the time frame. So instead of doing a month, so when the list is exhausted, I think it was discussed that it was 24 to 48 hours, we notified, we come in, take care of it right then and there. But I would like to suggest that we do some pros and cons, so that way, we've heard a lot of cons, but try to do pros and cons, do this in a diplomatic way, so that way nobody thinks that we're one side.
I don't really see any
I'm
problem.
biased. So I'm gonna do
I
pros
don't
first.
see any problem.
Pros for the MSC or keeping them or having them or why they need to be.
The only pro to having merit commission, first off, the merit commission is a complete entity into itself, outside the city's boundary. Seriously, that's the only board in reality that governs itself. When we had, I was on it.
The MSC does not answer to the city manager, it does
Nope.
not answer to council.
Nope.
And if there is a dispute where, let's just say, for instance, the Merit Service Commission makes a mistake, which it happens, the union could come back and sue individuals on that board. And the city is not able to protect them because they are their own entity.
I don't think that's a
And they
problem.
can be sued for, the American Service Commission would be responsible for their own lawyers' defense.
They don't have the city
It's a
back.
weird board. When it was originally set up, it was a good board to help the employee. But that help is not there no more. I honestly think that the merit service is a detriment to the hiring process of the city of Moraine.
Sounds like
It becomes, it really can hurt us. There was a time 3 years ago when the chief of police needed officers now. He wanted to hire 5 officers. 5 officers. And it took us almost 6 months to get him those 5 officers. And by the time he got those 5 officers, we had 3 more officers leave. Now he needed 3 more officers.
I remember.
It used to be that when we give the list, Merit Commission give the list to each department head. You had those 10 names on there. They had to interview those names. Each one of those names gets a score then beside their name. Okay? If for some reason number 7 got X'd, whatever department head it was had to give us a legitimate reason why number 7 got X'd off that list. He couldn't just say, well, I didn't like him. Well, that's good, because you just don't want to let somebody go because he lived next door to my brother-in-law and he always throws his trash in my yard. Okay? You can't do that. Well, in today's hiring processes, you can't do that anyhow.
Yep.
So the merit service, that don't work no more. And the old brother, I know we've all heard that before, or way of hiring people, that don't work no more neither. I don't know of any pros, guys. I don't know of any pros to continue with merit service. I really
It
don't.
doesn't sound like.
We're not gonna do any cons if there is no pros. I mean, because there's no sense in sitting there having a bash board, if you will.
I just don't see a pro at all.
This is a
Your-
big, look, to
your-
diminish or to take this off of this charter, this is a huge, huge deal. To take this off the charter, okay? This would have to go to the voters of the citizens of Moraine. This has to go to the law director for a big lot of review,
Yes.
okay? This is a big, big deal, what we're talking about doing.
This
You're
is-
talking about, really, you're talking about 4 or 5 people's lives. I was on merit system for probably on and off for about 28 years. Your mom was on it for probably 25
Yes.
plus years. Mary Wasty has been on it for at least 30 years. You've been on it for what, 6 years? 4?
4, 6, 4,
This
5
your
years.
second term, right?
Second, third.
Um,
There has been, in my time, in just the short time that I've been there, there really hasn't been too many changes other than wording to certain things, certain portions. The law director has come in and advised us on things, but outside of that,
I'll tell you the biggest change.
process is continuing saying now. By us doing this, we haven't had another merit service commission, so there has not been time for change. However,
The biggest change that I saw in the last 25 years with merit system, and that happened about 4 years ago, might have been just before you got on, but we established lateral transfer.
that was when I first came on.
That was when you first came on, wasn't it?
Yep.
We established lateral transfer. What's lateral transfer? For police and fire only. We have a vacancy. We need a police officer. We don't need a cadet. We don't need a rookie. We need a police officer. We need somebody right now that can come in here. We advertise, we need a police officer. By chance, a police officer from West Carrollton says, hey, I like that job. He can put in an application. He still has to have a test done. A Dayton officer can do the same thing. When we hire those officers, they can come in holding their time that they still had in their other places. A lateral transfer is a very unique situation for both police and fire, and it's really beneficial in today's hiring market. It speeds up a lot because that person already knows how to do that job 100%. The only thing different is they're doing it in Moraine instead of West Carrollton or here in Dayton or Kettering. We hired one lateral transfer, right? Police officer.
I can't remember, but in the same token, with, anytime you do a lateral transfer, you always have a possibility of hiring somebody else's problem.
That happened.
Or you could take away one of their best guys or gals.
Let me ask you a question. We don't have any part-time officers.
Nope.
No,
It's totally full-time.
Police officers, yeah.
police officers, but fire department they do have part-timers. We currently have a firefighter that's a full-time firefighter in DC, but he's been here for years upon years upon years as a part-timer, and he still shows up for his duties here. And he's full-time in Washington.
Wow.
So he's dedicated here.
There's a difference with our police. You can't have a part-timer in our police department. I don't think our police department is set up that
They
way.
would be considered auxiliary,
Yeah, and
and
that's
auxiliary is,
not a sworn officer, I don't think.
yes, they are.
Yeah.
In
They are
here?
still a sworn officer.
Yeah.
An auxiliary, not here,
Yeah.
but in other departments and other municipalities, auxiliary are sworn officers. They have to be sworn officers. They have to have their current OPADA, and they have to have their current training. But that is something that department heads decide. So there's no pros, right? So now it comes to the point where it's basically a yes or no. We can get this knocked out tonight. Whether or not I would like to, and I'll wait till I get up there.
I think it hurt.
I would like to ask for a motion be made for whether or not we're going to do this or not, Mr. Chairman.
Before we do that, I don't know if you've got your books, if you want to, section 7.3, which we're discussing, section B. Amy, if you could read that for us. This is the powers and duties, okay?
Section 7.3, Merit System Commission, Part B. Powers and duties, the Merit System Commission shall provide by rule for determination of merit and fitness as the basis for appointment and promotion in the service of the city as required by the Constitution of Ohio relative to civil service, and for appeals from the action of the city manager or other officer in any case of transfer, reduction, or removal. The action of the commission shall be final.
Does everybody understand that?
No, what
No.
is
Merit System Commission should provide by rule for the
Like I said, this is a lot of legal talk, okay? The part about section B, where it says appeals,
what's the city manager?
well, the merit system no longer handles appeals. That's been gone for a long time. Okay? So, if an employee has a problem, in today's world, they go to an HR person. The city of Moraine, as of this week, end of May, we no longer have an HR person. I would assume council is going to advertise and be hiring another one, but that's who an employee would go to. So if you scratch out the word appeal, and appeal for appeals, that's no longer a duty of merit system. As far as fitness goes, the department heads do an assessment test themselves to see if the candidate is capable mentally and physically of doing the jobs. The merit system is no part of that. We don't grade it, we don't test, we don't set up the test for it, nothing. So that's no longer in the merit system today. We don't do that. Yeah. So if you take out those things out of that, what's the duties and the powers of merit system?
Basically, the interview, right?
No, we don't even interview them. I can tell you right now, merit system never looks physically at any person. The only time they'll look at people is if they go proctor a test, and if they proctor a test, they're not even supposed to know the name of that person. So, can I get a motion that we send to the law director a proposal for the removal of Merit System Commission duties and function out of the City of Moraine Charter?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why, what does the attorney say about this? I just don't know.
I'm to be honest with you, I'm in a unsure area here myself. I really am, because our charter was set up on this. The state of Ohio could very well say, no, your merit system is the way your city's set up with whatever, you have to maintain this.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, okay, so that's what what they will determine.
Right.
Okay.
So if we eliminate this, what goes into place of it?
Can I just add something? Right now, the way the process works, Mr. Rodehaver explained it. A memo, a email is sent to the city manager. Hey, we need to hire this person or not hire this person, we need to hire for this position, need to place an ad, then the ad comes to the merit system. Okay. My thought, it would be much the same thing. Hey, we need to hire this person. The department head would be on the department head within their budget limitations, which is what they do now. They're not going to go regardless of merit system or not merit system. They're not going to go, hey, I need to hire 5 police officers. Well, is it in your budget? No. Well, then you can't. I mean, they're not going to do that. So it's based on what their budget is, how many positions they have available that are open, regardless.
But
So-
is there a way that you can cut the time of all the,
May I answer that? So, basically, in my eyes, or what I'm thinking is that once that department head says, I need an advertisement, then that advertisement will be put together, it would be put out, it would run for a certain amount of time per the request of the department head. Then once it is exhausted, then they would get all the names of said candidates. Then they could exhaust a list of 20, 30, 40 names, not just 10 at a time.
okay?
Right.
Then,
Go ahead.
am I going on the right path?
Go ahead.
Ish. I'm no law director for my, and I didn't stay at Holiday Inn Express, so, but then that department would be able to pick from a higher level of candidates. So we're getting better candidates, because a lot of times, sometimes we'll get people and it's like, yeah, I want to join the police department, I want to be a police officer, and then they get on their first call and it's a mess and they go, I don't want to be a cop.
Right now, I started here, I'll be here 3 years in December. Never dealt with merit system before, had no idea what it was all about, and yeah. So I've had to learn the processes as I've gotten on. And I'm the one who said, hey, can we please have this on a regular basis so that you put an advertisement out, you want to put it out for 3 weeks. You're not going to put it out for a week and then, then you're done and, whatever. The idea for police and fire, entry level, not a lateral entry coming from someplace else. I mean, they may come from someplace else, but that's a different process. Entry level coming in, you're going to advertise for 3 weeks. They have a test that they take online. Those scores are then compiled in time for the next meeting, which, it's a month. So that, to me, that has been a better way to do it, just because it was, okay, we've had the meeting, we've had 3 weeks, the advertisement's been out there, and then, okay, now we have to gather everybody together and, get everybody to sit down for the meeting, and, that's fine. But it just seems to be better on a more consistent basis. The problem is, you've got these guys and gals who are applying, taking this test, submitting all of their information. They're waiting 3 weeks to be contacted because the merit system has to approve that list. There's no, like Tommy was talking about, the lateral entry. Lateral entry applicants, bam, the chiefs get those applications right then and there, just about. I mean, they're on a consistent basis of those applications come in, then they get to start looking at those guys and gals right then and there. There's no delay. But that's the way the rules were set up for that process in merit system.
It would basically remove the middleman, the proverbial middleman.
One more thing to think about, what Amy said, and it kind of brought it to my attention. You got to remember, if we got a new hire for police and fire, okay, streets is a little bit different, but police and fire, if we have a person that wants to take a test, they have to pay for that. That candidate has to pay for that test.
Do they get reimbursed if they get hired?
No. Usually their scores are, that's the other thing. Usually their scores are out there. They take it through, it's called NTN.
Oh,
And they shop their scores is what it's called. So they take this test and they see so-and-so's hiring. Well, they're sending their scores to them. They see so-and-so hiring. They send their scores to them. Well, whoever's faster
right.
Of hiring,
It's going to get that.
will get
person.
those people,
Yeah.
because then by the time those 3 weeks end up, hey, are you interested? Oh, I've already got a job.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been so many, and one of the other things is these days, it used to be you would have a test. You would say, hey, we're having a civil service test at this date, at this time. You'd get, 150 people to show up. We're lucky to get 10 on a list for the MSC to approve.
Wow.
Who takes care of the advertising?
What has been happening is I have a template for each position. If one of the department heads says, hey, I need to hire somebody, city manager okays it, I kind of compile what I have. The only thing that usually needs to be changed is the salary and, of course, the dates of the test, if we're giving a test, and the dates of when the advertisement is open. So all of that then goes to the MSC, and they approve that advertisement. So knock on wood, once that's done, we usually have our meetings, first meeting of first Thursday of the month. Then that ad usually goes up on the website the day after, that Friday, and in the paper that next Sunday. So there's specific rules how we have to advertise. We have to advertise in the paper twice with I think a week span in between or whatever. And then it goes on the website too.
and then once those applicants make their application, all of those applications then have to come back to her for review. She goes through those applicants, oh, this person didn't apply in time, this person didn't apply in time, this person didn't apply in time. And then she brings all of that back to MSC again. And then they say, okay, we're pushing these 8 people forward, 2 people didn't fill out their applications right. So then those 8 people go to the next level. now they've got to take another type of test, or now they got to take a civil service test, of some type. They have to go down to Sinclair and do the police test or the fire test, or the street department has to make their own test up, and then they get that test, or same thing with building maintenance. They have to make their test up and give to those people. Then once we get those test scores, Merit Commission steps in again. We're looking at the test scores now. Okay, this person passed, this person passed, this. Okay, yeah, they passed. Okay, you want 10 names? We've only got 8. Here's your 8 names. Why'd we have to meet to do that? And that's the way it's set up, guys. I mean,
It's a waste of time.
it's a total waste.
Are there how many cities around us have a merit? I'm just curious.
I don't know.
I believe Kettering does, but their process is a little bit different. I
Okay.
think it's a lot easier. It seems
Okay.
to be because they will get the applications, they will do a pre-panel interview. They just have a different, because once they do their applications, then they start contacting people to do the interview. I'm
Okay.
not quite sure, but I believe Kettering does. Others, I don't know. I do know there are charter cities.
Okay, I just wanted a general idea.
I'd like to make a motion then to,
Not you.
As a matter of fact, if they do take a vote, it's
very well,
just for safety, for
it's in your court.
I mean, I really think it shouldn't
I
be
was
left up to the people over the merit. It should be left up to, I don't know, but not the people. The people don't know about that.
Well, the only thing the voters of the Moraine would have to vote on is whether or not to keep Merit Service Commission established or
But regular
not.
people, how would they really know?
It's this verbiage would go on a voter's ballot,
Read it.
and if you don't know what it is, 99% of them say no.
That's true.
Right.
If you don't want to stand the time and stand there and read five paragraph thing, you're going to vote no.
So
Just
then
that's the reality. I mean,
then
that's
it's
what-
gonna
Or
stay
unless
in.
they get out and we
Educate
advertise
themselves, yeah.
and this is what needs to be changed and
Yeah,
that's it.
it's goofy, guys. It's goofy.
So they need to be on TV.
Yeah.
This is what the merit system is doing. They're allowing us to do such and such and such and such, and then on top of that, people are like, oh, okay.
You know, the people that are getting hired are not supposed to know who the merit system are? The commissioner?
Serious?
No?
I'd like to proposal to remove. merit system.
Okay. So,
Because like I said, I've dealt with a lot of the fire and police officers here in Moraine. And I used to be a firefighter. So I know what they're going through. I know what they need. When you need somebody not 3 months down the road, you need them now. Because it's a matter of life and death.
Then who want to go to Channel 7? Let's do this. Let's talk about it.
You know?
I honestly, like I said a while
Yes,
ago,
please,
well, like I
Brian.
said a while ago, guys, all seriousness, I was on merit system for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, a long time. And I was in the process, okay, of hiring police and firemen. And I know absolutely nothing about their job. Nothing.
30 years ago, it might have worked, but it doesn't work now.
Yeah.
The people gonna
Just
have to
doesn't.
know what
It
this
just doesn't.
is, though.
Yeah.
Cause you're right. If I was voting, I'm like, I don't know nothing about it. Actually, I'm skipping it.
You're right, but that's what
Right.
we're supposed to get that word out.
Right, and that's what we need to do.
Or we want them to skip.
So Terry
It's negative.
Terry has put it on the board that we send this to law director for review of our proposal of the elimination of Merit System Commission.
Cause we feel like this is
Okay.
a hazardous
Yes.
thing.
We don't know if it's possible. We don't know if it can be reworked. We don't know. We're all
Oh,
just
I see.
citizens right
Okay.
now, okay?
Right.
So we don't know the legal ramifications, so we
Okay.
want the legal opinion on if it can be dismantled or if it needs to be reconfigured.
Well, I ain't going to Channel 7 now. I'm in trouble. Ma'am, you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so do we have a second?
I second.
Rhonda seconds that. Roll call, please.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Worley?
Yes.
Mrs. Duff?
Yes,
Mr. Rodehaver?
Abstain?
Mrs. Bond?
Yes,
Ms. Byrd?
Yes,
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
I don't think we
Make a
should.
note that Mr. Roderhaver did abstain from that vote. Okay, that one, section 3 is out.
It's over with.
That one is. Now, if you would, I believe the auditor, or I guess that's the city finance director, would like us to look at section 3.10.
This is not for regular person. I'm telling you.
annual audit.
Oh, thank you. This is not for regular person. He know all about it. I don't know about it.
3.10.
I would have got on Channel 7.
Amy, if you could read that.
Section 3.10, annual audit. During those years in which the state of Ohio makes an audit of the affairs of the city, such audit, in council's discretion, shall be accepted as valid. In such years and other years, council may approve an audit by a certified public accountant.
I believe the finance director has wrote his opinion on our page there. Apparently, he has a problem with accept and approve. Council is not able to refuse an audit report. And if I'm not bad mistaken, those audit reports now are done by the city manager, correct?
No.
Have our audits are performed by the state, or we have an independent public accounting firm.
But not by the council itself.
No,
The city
no,
may
correct.
disagree with comments or citations made by the auditors and provide a written response. But yeah, you can't, you can't say as a council or city manager, well, we don't want your audit. Because I guarantee you, state auditor is gonna come in and go, wanna bet?
Right.
Surprise.
And we're not listening to what you have to say.
Does everything go through city manager?
Suggested, I'm sorry?
Does everything go through city manager?
Not for an audit necessarily, because an audit is done by county and state on city municipalities. And really, the municipalities don't really have a say-so in being audited. It'd be no different than tax auditor rings you up and says, hey, we're gonna audit your taxes for the last 7 years. You don't have any say-so, they're gonna do it anyway.
Okay, so let's take section 310 here. If you come halfway down it, the paragraph there, or look about 3/4 of the way down, the bottom section that says the city may disagree with comments. Do y'all see that part?
No.
I just read it.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to maintain that section. Okay, now, if we look at the suggested wording of our finance director, can you see that, Amy? Okay, if we read the suggested wording of what the finance director is saying, and then put the bottom line of the original charter onto what he has to say, can you read that?
You're talking his suggested wording, that sentence,
Yes.
and then add the, in such years and other years, council may approve? an
No.
audit? Oh, okay.
No. See where it says,
May I?
yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
So the suggested wording is an annual financial audit shall be performed by either the state of Ohio or an independent public accounting firm. And then you would add on The city may disagree with comments or citations made by the auditors and provide a written response or responses.
That would be the new verbiage.
Okay.
Now, in saying this, this again has to go to the law director because this is more than supplementive verbiage. Okay? We're taking the powers of council away here at this point that the charter says they have, when in reality they do not. Okay? But I need the law director's direction on that. Agreed, Amy?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion then that we send this forward to the law director for review to change the annual audit, section 310, and the verbiage for that section.
Oh, I'll second it.
That's okay. Just wanna make sure. Mr. Rodehaver,
Yes.
Mrs. Bond,
Yes,
Ms. Byrd,
Yes,
Mrs. Duff,
Yes,
Ms. Worley,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Watts.
Yes. Cool. Section 10.12.
Annual report.
Wait a minute.
10.12. Annual
On
report
page
You see the
23.
last page,
on page 23.
of course.
23.
Page 23. Middle way. Where are we at? Let's see.
Annual report, section 1012, states that council shall annually publish a comprehensive financial report covering the financial status or condition of the city. Council may, from time to time, publish a comprehensive report covering the activities of the city.
This section. The city doesn't currently provide that. It can, but it don't, correct?
So according to the suggestions, it's a change in verbiage, but I'm not sure where that verbiage would,
Yeah,
the city
Paul.
shall publish.
he's saying,
I'm thinking, in his opinion, the entire section needs to be
Council.
rewrote to say just
Ah.
his.
I think I know where it's,
Tell me.
so where it says, council may from time to time
Wait a minute.
publish a comprehensive report covering the activities of the city.
Yes.
The change would be from that sentence, the city shall publish an annual report covering the activities of the city. That's the last sentence in that section that they have suggested. So that's where it kind of fits in at.
So you want to take council, because that's period. And then
Yep.
council may from
they
time
say
to time
and he wants
take that out and put
shall.
The
the city shall
Shall.
publish.
Yes. That's the suggested wording.
I think we can do that
That's easy enough.
right now.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
I don't see anything here that would,
Not anything detrimental or huge changes other than verbiage, because it's just saying from time to time.
Covering
From
the
time to
activities of
time,
the
it-
city.
that's
The city
useless.
shall
Yeah.
publish
That should have
an
never been wrote in.
Oh, I'm just
Yeah.
kind of
Oh.
reading out loud.
So,
This says the city may, the word may is controversial. From time to time, really? That's whenever they feel like it?
Yeah, that's what it's saying.
Publish a comprehensive report. This one, the city shall publish an annual report, which is almost an affirmity that it will
Correct.
happen.
And I think it makes more
Council
sense.
shall. annually
Transparency.
publish.
Correct.
I think that first sentence stays and then the
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then the-
council from time to time gone.
yeah.
Well, I think his point is that council is not publishing the comprehensive financial report.
yeah, and they
Right,
should.
right. They're
They
Yeah.
not.
should.
They're
Okay,
not.
okay,
Yeah,
gotcha. Okay, just want
They
to,
should.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In the current way it's wrote, council may, from
Right.
time to time, publish a comprehensive report covering the activities of the city.
Yeah.
And we would make this more an affirmative. The city shall publish an annual report.
I agree.
So I've got, they will, and we've got a time of when it's gonna be done annually, not time to time,
Correct.
and not if they feel like it.
Right.
I think this is something that we can vote on. It does not have to go to the vote.
I would like to make a motion that it go forward to the law director to approve or disapprove the verbiage change in section 1012 annual report, and a suggested change of the second sentence to, from council may from time to time publish a comprehensive report covering the activities of the city, to the city shall publish the annual report covering the activities of the city.
So we're changing the entire bottom sentence.
Yes.
The second.
So you want to do you want to read our suggestion to the law director then in full?
Yeah, because normally we have a reading for any changes in verbiage and anything that we discuss, so we would probably have to have a reading and then a second reading.
Yes,
So,
after the law director says yea or
yes,
nay.
so my motion is to
First
send it to the law director.
Well, do you want to do your first reading first? That way we know what we're sending to the law director.
Okay.
If she approves it, then we do our second reading.
okay. Well, what I just want to clarify, section 10.12, annual report, you're maintaining that first sentence.
Yes,
Council shall annually publish a comprehensive financial report. Because I think that's his point, is they don't do that. The finance director does that. So the council, may publish the,
We're being redundant.
yeah. So, I mean, the comprehensive financial report is really not anything to do with council. I think that was his point. He was saying what they do, the city publishes an annual report
Oh, I see.
that's
what you're
done
saying.
for,
It's not the council.
businesses. It's an annual report that's done every year. Each department submits items for this report, and then it's passed out to incoming businesses or incoming residents or that kind of thing. I think his point was the financial report, because they don't publish that. But I don't, I mean, maybe I think he just,
okay, then I would like to refrain from that and clarify what they were trying to convey.
okay.
Like better clarification on that then.
Is he, do you believe he's saying
The whole thing should just
the
say.
whole thing should just go away
Yeah.
and only say
The
his
city
suggested
shall-
line?
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
think, because,
That makes more
Yeah,
sense.
because, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, just that one sentence.
his-
We don't need all this
once
other.
you started reading
No.
the whole thing, you're like, wait a minute, same thing we just
No, it
said.
needs just, the city shall.
Yeah, I mean, if you're wanting to change the first sentence and, the city shall annually publish a comprehensive financial report, because that's something, that's, what the
Right.
city does
That's
as
just
part of the
all.
finance department. But I mean, I think his point was that council's doing this stuff and they're not.
So it should be the city shall publish an annual report. The city
Yeah,
shall.
yeah.
publish, Covering the financial staff.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of,
Well,
That's kinda
once
wordy.
again, then, this has to go to the law director and clarification a little bit. I understand what he's saying up here, but I would like to know if in his opinion, this entire verbiage from the original charter needs to be scrapped and only to his sentence. Because we are, once again, this would be taking,
Then I would like to make a motion for section 10.12, the annual report be reviewed and clarified to the law director.
yeah. For the motion? Second? Rhonda seconds that?
Okay.
Mr. Rodehaver?
Yes.
Ms. Worley?
Yeah.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Byrd?
Yes,
Mrs. Bond?
Yes.
Mrs. Duff?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
I reckon. Okay, section 1013. This section is a little confusing. Really? In reality, the city does not have the exclusive authority to management.
May I make a reading of what it says?
Yep, make her do it.
Why are we making her do it? I can read just fine, thank you.
You can go ahead, you can read it, yeah.
Hooked on phonics worked for me.
I went to West Carrollton, man, yeah.
So the current section 10.13, management of funds, council shall have exclusive authority to determine the management and deposit of all city funds except funds that are preempted by general law of the state of Ohio.
Well, I can tell you right now, that's all a bunch of hooey.
That's what it currently reads.
I mean, we would be, we're stripping away council's authority, but in reality, that authority does not exist anyhow. Okay? I mean, at all.
Now, the suggested wording is to be changed, and I'm speculating that it's the entire section be changed to the finance director shall provide periodic reports to the city council regarding the management and deposit of city funds. Funds shall be deposited and invested following state law. Period.
Yep. That's the way I'm getting it.
Well, that sounds a little bit more legal.
Yes.
Once again, though, this removing this much of the verbiage and stripping council of said powers that they don't have, but according to the charter they do, the state of Ohio would have other things to say. This would have to go to the law director for further review. I do like the verbiage that the finance director has wrote. I do like, and I believe that verbiage is very clear and legal, but I would like the law director myself to take a look and see what, if any, would have to go to the voters on this as well.
Agreed.
This is quite a bit of change. Motion?
I just have one question.
Go for it.
In here, it says state of Ohio, and he's just got following state law. Do we have to put state of Ohio law, or can it just be state law?
We probably should put state of Ohio law, not state law, because you have to be very specific about that, you do. But the law director would see that and make that determination as
Okay,
well.
okay.
I know she will, because we've done that in the past.
Okay,
You can't, that's kind of arbitrary about what state are we talking about.
And it would be legal verbiage.
right,
So it has to be specific.
okay,
And
okay.
I agree with you on that. Any other comments? Do I have a motion?
I'll motion it.
Okay.
Second. Go ahead.
Terry beats
Go ahead, Terry.
That's right.
Mrs. Bond?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Worley?
Yes.
Ms. Byrd?
yes,
Mr. Rodehaver?
Yes.
Mrs. Duff?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yep. Okay,
Do you wanna? Do you wanna continue or?
um,
Yes.
is that all that has been brought up to us?
Section 7.3 is something else that's on the
yeah.
slate.
The first section was just from the finance director, the second section was from police chief, and then the last section was from the street superintendent. I've got
Yeah.
those emails if you all need a copy.
Let's carry that on later, maybe. I don't wanna
Okay.
get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, 7.3, if we're gonna get rid of the merit, that really wouldn't go with it. I mean,
Yeah, this is a comment from the police chief regarding his opinion about 7.3.
And then there's 5.8 is another section. That's absence or disability of city manager.
Where's that at?
Right here.
does the
Page
clerk
12.
really accept a
Where's that
paper
at?
letter indicating
Amy's
whom
page
is acting
packet?
city manager?
What's
and
that, is that?
absence upon.
So there's a change,
Oh, 3.5?
5.8, and it's on page 12. And what it currently reads is to perform, it's section 5.8, absence or disability of city manager.
The change.
To perform the duties in the city manager's temporary absence or disability, the city manager may designate by letter filed with the clerk of council a qualified administrative officer of the city. In the event the city manager fails to make such designation, council by resolution shall appoint an administrative officer to the city to perform the duties of the city manager till the city manager shall return or until the disability ceases. What this is stating is, for 5.8, is absence of city manager. Does the clerk really accept a paper letter indicating whom is acting city manager and is absence defined? Now,
That'd be you, Amy.
Molly, ball's in your court.
If I know city manager is out.
Okay. Maybe we should, this sounds a little lengthy. I would like to
Stop her.
suggest that we table this until our next
Yes.
meeting.
Now, wait a minute. Let's, we gotta go. I know we do gotta go. Let's think real strong here about the verbiage of what 5.8 currently says. Okay? Read that over, mull that around. And we do have a comment from Amy that is a legitimate comment. It's not a slam on anybody, by no means, but her comment is she is lucky to know when said absence of any city manager would happen. Their offices are not conjoined. So in remembering that, who then,
Can I answer that?
yeah,
So normally, in the absence of the city manager, if he is out for some period of time, the chief of police or the fire chief will resume the duties of city manager
Oh.
while in the absence of the city manager.
So like if he or she is out for surgery or something, then they would step-
vacation.
Yeah, okay,
Yep.
okay, okay.
I know in years past, and time to time, the city manager would specifically leave and put each of the 3 major department heads, one at a time, in his stead to learn that office in case of an emergency, okay? Including the street department, fire department chief, and the police chief.
So those would be the three.
But if this is stating that a letter from the city manager has to go to the clerk,
I've never.
Do you receive an email,
I have, yes,
but not a letter?
not a written letter, no.
that would have to be filed.
So, yeah, I mean, if just minor verbiage needs to be changed, you just notify, or, whatever, without
Correct.
specifying a
Letter,
letter. Or
okay.
a phone call, or,
But it should be known to you.
And I think what the chief here is referring to is he wants the word absence. He wants to know, what does that mean? Vacation, illness, surgery? Maybe he just don't want to do his job no more.
Well, right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes we all do.
Okay, well, yeah, it's been there, you know what I mean? But let's mull this section over, 5.8 a little bit. In our next meeting, we will bring that up
Yeah,
forefront, okay?
yeah.
Anything else anybody else wants to talk about?
I am good.
How long does it usually take for the law director to look over things? Couple weeks? A month?
I
Did-
wouldn't think that long. I mean, as far as the merit system, or, maybe something like that, that might take a little bit more
Okay,
time.
but the littler thing,
Minor things
Okay.
that might give me.
okay.
Normally, my dealings with the law director, if it's just verbiage,
He's organized.
if it's just verbiage, then, it doesn't take very long at all.
Okay.
No, you keep that.
I got one at home.
Well, you
So
keep
two
that.
is really into
you have
this.
another one.
You really know the law.
Ooh,
Not the law, but here, I would say we're dismissed.
Okay, but when do you want to
'Cause I know-
schedule the next meeting?
Yeah, when you guys want to do the next meeting, we better think about that.
Wait, let me.
Today's the 24th, so do you guys want to go to, I know, Terry, you was having